Hello students, today we will create the object that you see on the screen. So here are all of our dimensions and our numbers that we are going to use to create our object. Please make sure that you follow along with the video and the directions. We will be reusing Inventor Lab Exercise 19-3 for another upcoming assignment later on this week. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and let me know if you need any help. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So File, New. We are in metric, so we need our standard metric units, .ipt, create, and then you go ahead and save it for as Inventor Lab Exercise 19-3. I'm just going to leave mine as part 3. I won't save this because I already have it. All right, so let's get started. 2D sketch. We will work on the XZ plane. Make sure that up here your top is readable from left to right. And let's start putting in our dimensions. So we will go up 80. Hit enter. We're going to go to the left. We're going to put in an angle. So make sure you tab over where it has degree. And let's type in 143, tab back. And then we're just going to pull our line out. Somewhere in the 90s is more than enough. Make sure that you just drag it and then click. Don't type in the number. I noticed that when I typed in the number, the next step that we do here in the next few steps, it won't trim the correct way. So make sure you just pull out somewhere in like the 90 range and then click, and then we're going to hit escape. All right, so let's go down here to the bottom. So we're going to go back to our starting point, and we will go to the left, and we're going to go over 70. Hit enter, and then we will come up 60. Hit enter. Once you have that, hit escape. Now we are going to put in a construction line. So let's go over to our line. Make sure you click on your construction tool to turn that on. We will come up 140. Hit enter. And then we want to turn off our construction line, and now we want to go to the left, 180. Hit enter. And then escape. So you'll see here that we have now crossed this over, and we've now made our angle, our box edge here, so that we can get in this angle here, these lines here to match up. All right, so we're going to go to trim, and we're just going to simply trim off those two pieces. So again, if you type in 90 or whatever coming this way, for whatever reason, you're not going to be able to trim this line. And then when you trim this line, then it will allow you to trim this, but then this angle is going to jump up, and it's going to be weird. So make sure that you do not type in 90. You just kind of pull out somewhere into the 90s and then click on it and then escape. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to offset this line here that we just created, and we are going to offset it 20. And we want to make sure that it is a construction line. So construction, offset, left click, right click, then we want to hit continue, and then we're going to pull this line down, and we're going to type in 20. All right, so that's what you should have. So let's turn off our construction tool. Now we want to come down here to our left end of the construction line that we just created, and we are going to put in a circle. So let's select our circle. Make sure your construction is turned off. Click that edge, and we want our circle to be 40. So far, that is what you should have. Okay, now we're going to go over to the line tool, and now we are going to connect the 60 line over to our circle that we just completed. Hit escape, so you should have this. So now we need to use our constrain tool, which is our tangent, and we need to make sure that our lines are tangent to our circle. So that one is already tangent, and then I need to tangent this bottom one. And that one was already tangent as well. All right, now we need to trim our circle. And this is what you should have so far. We're now going to go and put in our holes here, here, and then the two down here at the bottom. So this is what we're looking at here. We're going to put in these two here and then these two here. So let's do these bottom circles here first. We will go over 15, up 15, and we need to turn on our construction tool. So we will go over 15, hit enter, and then come up 15, hit enter. Escape, and we are going to do the same thing on the other side. Come over 15, and then come up 15. Hit escape. So when you have that, now we can turn off our construction tool. And then at the top, we are going to put in our circles. And our circles are 10. So right where we put our 15 over and 15 up, that's where we will put our circles at the top of that construction line. And they are both 10. All right, now we are going to come up and then we are going to now put in our circles up here. This one's easy. This one is just 10. There's nothing that we have to do. All right, so now this one's a little trickier. We're going to have to come down 15, and then we're going to have to offset to make this a little bit easier. So we want to come up and we want to use our construction line, and then we want to offset. So we're going to offset this line here. So left click, right click, continue, and we're going to pull this in 15. We're going to do the same thing with this top one, our 180 line. Left click, right click, continue, and then we want to also do 15. So now where you see that we are intersected, that is where we will put our circle. So turn off your construction, select your circle, and it's going to be right here where our two lines intersect. And it should snap on, and we want to make that circle 10. Now that we have all of our dimensions in, we can now extrude. So go to 3D Model, Extrude, and we will extrude 15. Make sure that you select your base sketch, click OK, and this is what you should have up to this point. Now we need to go in and we need to put in these little indentations in each one of our holes. So we see here how we have little indentations here. That is actually 15. So we need to do Start 2D Sketch, choose our plane, pull our object into view. Now, all you should have to do is just move around until that center dot comes up in the circles that you already have there. When you do, type in 15 and then do the same. You should just have to move around until it locks on and it comes into view. And all of them are 15. And then once you have that, we now need to go back over and we need to extrude 3 deep. So let's go back to 3D model, extrude, and we are going to extrude upwards. So make sure that we select, inwards. We will extrude inwards. So you can select all of them first, and then we can change this to 3, flip it, click OK, and now you have your little indentations. So we are flipping it, we are going inwards. Okay, now we are going to use our offset plane. Now we need to create this object here. So to do that, we need to offset this plane here, pull in, and we're going to pull that in -32 so that we can make this rectangular square that we need in order to put our circle on top. Okay, so we're going to go to plane, offset from plane. We're going to click, and then we are going to click and hold and drag inwards, and then type in -32. Hit OK, and then you should have another work plane that popped up. So what we need to do, just like we did on our other assignment, we need to grab this corner, make sure that it's not the 4 arrows. The 4 arrows means you're going to move the entire work plane. You want the double arrows. Then that means that we can drag and pull. So we want to drag and pull it upward and a little bit over. So there is our new work plane. So you should have work plane number 1. Okay, so this work plane that we have, we want to do a 2D sketch. So make sure you select 2D sketch. And when you go to select it, make sure you have your little paper with your pencil on it so that you know that you are actually in the 2D sketch. You might have to play around with it a little bit. All right, then you want to make sure that your work plane is highlighted. Click it, and then it should turn. So this is the way that we are going to work on our new work plane. If it flips or it's in a different direction, make sure you just flip it to where it is right. Okay, so to start where that little box is, this rectangular piece here, we need to come in 30. So we need to turn on our construction line. And we're going to start right here at the edge, and we're going to come over, and we will come over 30. Hit enter, then escape, turn off your construction line. Now we are going to use our rectangle tool. Right at the very end of that 30 line, that construction line that we just created, we're going to make a rectangle. That top number will be 50, tab 25. Hit enter, and there you should have your rectangle piece to get you started. Okay, now we need to extrude what we just created. So come over to 3D model, extrude, and then that'll automatically select. We want to flip it backwards, and we want that to be 6. Hit OK. Now we are going to put in another rectangle so that we can find the middle point so that we can create our circle here. All right, so we're going to go back to 2D sketch. Make sure you have your little pencil on your paper. Choose your work plane. So we want to turn on the construction tool, rectangle. So we are going to come over here at the start of our original base. We're going to come over, and that top number will be 55, tab, and then we want it 30 tall. Hit enter, and then escape. Turn off your construction tool. Where you have this point here, that is where we will put our circles. So again, make sure your construction tool is turned off. Go to circle. We are going to put our circle right there at that point. Our first circle will be 10. And then we are going to put in another circle, and that second circle is 25. Once you have that, we can now go over and we can extrude. So go over to 3D model. We're going to extrude in between those circles. And we want to select the 2 different direction arrows. So it's going to be the 4th one. So we're going to actually extrude this out both directions. So it's going to be the 4th choice over. So you have, there's a black arrow on the left and then there's a blue arrow on the right, and it comes up asymmetric when you hover over it. So click on that, and when you do, you see that you have 2 distance points that pops up. So distance A, you want it to be 7. Distance B, you want it to be 13. Once you have that, click OK. And then you can come over to your work plane, right click on that, and then we want to remove the visibility. Just click on visibility to remove that check mark, and now that work plane disappears. So this is what you should have up to this point. We are now going to put in our little circles that there's one here and one over here. So you can see the circles, one there and one there. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. We need to do a 2D sketch. We're going to select that part that we are going to work on. So now we need to do a construction rectangle, and we're going to do the top left corner and the top right corner. Construction rectangle, and we are going to make these little boxes 6 by 6. 6 tab 6, hit enter, do the same thing on the other side. 6 tab 6, hit enter. Once you have that, hit escape, go up and select your circle, and then right here at the bottom of each of your squares that you just put in, we're going to put in our circle there, and they each are 6 diameter. Once you have that, hit escape, and then we can extrude. But you can see here that I forgot to turn off my construction tool. So you can just right click on that, and then it comes up construction, and then you can hit the check mark, and then it automatically goes away. Then that way you don't have to redo it. Let's see if it'll let me do this one. Yep, there we go. All right. So then we'll go over to 3D model, extrude, and then make sure that our circles that we just made turn sage green. We're going to flip them backwards, and it is 6 that we will flip backwards. Click OK, and you should now have circles that go all the way through. Okay, now that we have this piece completed, now we need to do this back piece. So again, we're going to do the same exact thing that we did with this piece here, we will do on the back part. So we are going to need to offset, so make sure you are under 3D model. Go to plane, offset from plane, and we want this plane here. So we're going to left click once, hold in our left click, and then we're going to drag it backwards, and we want to make that -20. Hit OK. Let's turn this around so we can see it a little bit better here. We will need to grab those corners and then pull them up. These ones are a little bit smaller and a little bit more difficult to grab onto. So we want to drag straight up. All right, then once you have that, now we need to work on our new work plane, which is work plane number 2. We are going to do Start 2D Sketch. Again, make sure that you are able to click on that and you have your little pencil with your paper that pops up. And then make sure you are selecting work plane 2 so that you are on the correct plane. And then we are going to get our construction rectangle. So make sure you turn on your construction tool. and then our construction rectangle. So we are going to start our construction rectangle from this line right here. So it should snap right down the top. We're going to come up and over. We want the top to be 65, tab, and then we want 35. Hit enter. And when you do, you'll see that your box pops up here, and we want this upper left corner here. So we're going to do this a little bit differently than what we did on the other one. We're actually going to do our circles first, and then we are going to put in that base, which is the triangle. So hit escape, turn off our construction tool, and then in this upper left corner, we want our circle. And again, we're going to need 2 circles. So the first circle is 20. Hit enter, do it again, and our second circle is 30. Hit enter, escape. Now we will go ahead and we will extrude this. So come over to 3D model, extrude. For this one, we want the double arrow. So make sure that we select that middle point. We're going to extrude our circle. I'm sorry, we need our asymmetric choice. And we want distance A to be 5. And then we want distance B to be 20. Once you have that in there, click OK. And you should have a floating circle there for right now until we get our triangular base put in. So now we need to go back, start 2D sketch, and we are going to work on our work plane 2. And now we will go ahead and put in our lines for our base. Okay, for this one, we want to tilt this down just a little bit so that we can see where we are going to work right in here in this area. So here we are going to pull a construction line from this circle here. So we might need to come down just a little bit more. So we want line, construction. You want your numbers, you can just type them in. You want that X to be 130, tab, you want that one to be 15. Then we will click, and then we are going to bring over our construction line 40. Okay, once you have your 40, we want to turn off our construction line, and we want our line tool. Right at the end of where we put the 40, we are going to draw another line, and we want that line to be 50. Hit escape. Now we will take our lines and we will connect these points up to our circle. So the best way to do that, we want the back view. Click line, and then we are going to go from the edge to our circle, and then the other edge here up to our circle. Now we need a tangent. Make sure our lines are tangent with our circle. And you can see that my line is not long enough. That is not a problem. We will fix that. All we have to do is click on extend, and then we'll just extend the line. Hit escape, and now everything should be tangent. We can always double check that to make sure. Yep, that is tangent, and that is tangent. Okay, now that we have our bottom piece and then our two side pieces. We now have to put in a 3-point arc here so that we can close this off and then we can extrude. So let's go over to arc. We want 3-point. Make sure construction is turned off. We are going to click on the side here at the top of where our lines are, and then we're going to just pull straight down. And then you should have a completed structure to where we should be able to extrude this. So let's see if this works. We'll go over to 3D model, extrude, and it did turn sage green, which means I am completed and have everything closed off. Okay, we are going to flip, and then we are going to extrude 10. Click OK. This is what you should have. And then we can go over to our sketch, that plane that we made, our work plane number 2, right click, and we're going to hide that work plane. So this is what you should have. Now we are going to add our fillets and round everything off. You see how this is rounded here, this is rounded, this is all rounded back here. So we are going to round all of that off, and we are going to put in these little parts down in here, and we're going to clean it up and finish up our object. So let's fillet this piece here and this piece here. So 3D model, fillet, and then you can click and click these two, and then you can just go over and type in 10, and then it will actually fillet everything that you have chosen. Okay, let's keep on using our fillet tool. So we're staying under 3D model, fillet, and now we're going to fillet this part here and this one here in the back. Those two are 25. Click OK. Now we can go ahead and we can fillet this front piece. We can turn it just ever so much so that we can see that line. Click fillet. Choose that line right there, and we are going to fillet that to 35. Then click OK. And now our object is starting to take shape. Okay, we're going to finish this out. So we're going to do our base. That is going to be 1, and then we're going to do all the way around here. We'll type in a 1, and then we can just turn everything around, go down around the bottom of both of our shapes, and then we're also going to come up the sides. And again, these are all 1. And again, we're going to come down around here on our rectangle that we have. Then on the inside. And we also want these lines here as well. Okay, once you have all of those selected, you can click OK, and then everything will fillet. So we have one more step to do before we can do our appearance, and we need to fillet this part here. Those are going to be 6. So we're going to fillet this piece here, and that is 6. Click OK, and your object is complete with the exception of your appearance. So the appearance is galvanized. So let's type in galvanized. Make that choice. Highlight, double click. and there is your object. Make sure you put your object onto three-dimensional. Make sure you use the retrieve model annotations to help you out with putting in some of your numbers. Also, you can also use your leader text and put in your circle dimensions if they are not coming up under your retrieve model annotations. Okay, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.